Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Argentina are Copa America winners once again after defeating Colombia last night 1-0 at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. With that win, Argentina now claim their 16th Copa America trophy, the most out of any team in the history of the Copa America. And with that win, they now claim back-to-back Copa America titles as well, 2021 and 2024, continuing what has been an utterly dominant run by Lionel Scaloni and by this Argentina team over the past 5 years. They've lost 2 games since the summer of 2019, and since they lost that game to Brazil, that Copa America semifinal in 2019, this team has been basically flawless, and at major tournaments, they have been flawless. And I don't want people to take for granted what we're watching right now. As football fans, whether you like Messi or Argentina or not, or whether you hate them, I don't give a fuck. You cannot take for granted what you're watching right now. And you cannot deny this is one of the greatest runs in the history of international football. And if they win the World Cup in 2026, which they actually could do, I know they're going to probably lose. They're going to lose Di Maria already because he's retiring from the national team. And they're probably going to lose Otamendi. They might also lose Messi. I don't care, bro. That coach and those players, they've shown they have the pedigree to win knockout style football. They've done it, bro. They're the best national team in the world right now to me, and it's not even fucking close. Nobody comes close. When it comes to their resume, their track record over the past 5 years, Copa America 2021, World Cup 22, Copa America 24, and like I said, they still have the World Cup in 26. If they won the World Cup in 26 here in the States, oh, they're definitely the greatest national team of all time. No one has had a run that dominant. But again, we'll wait to see if that happens. But yeah, man, it's been amazing to watch Argentina over the past 5 years. And yesterday, for me, as a Barca fan, bro, it was as perfect a day as I can remember without watching Barca play. Usually the best days for me as a football fan are when Barca wins. But yesterday, Barca didn't play, and I still feel like I won, bro. I'm so happy. Watching Messi and Lamine Yamal both pick up international trophies. Watching the young GOAT and the GOAT both win. I mean, it was just amazing, bro. It was like watching that yesterday was just, like I said, fantastic. And yeah, man, for me, a great experience overall. Like if you're a Brazil fan and a Real Madrid fan, that was probably the worst day of your life. But for me, man, I am extremely happy. But yeah, bro, today I want to talk about the micro, the game last night, why Argentina won this game last night, and also talk about the macro, Argentina, what this means for Messi, Scaloni, Di Maria, what it means for them historically. I want to tackle all that stuff in today's video. Whatever you guys agree or disagree with, please let me know in the comments section down below. But yeah, let's get into this video. First of all, I want to say this because the majority of this video, I'm going to talk about Argentina, but I want to talk about Colombia very briefly here because what they did in this tournament was amazing, bro. Those players and those fans and that manager, they should all be incredibly proud of this team. I mean, it's one of the best tournament runs that I've seen in my life, honestly, by a team. And I can honestly argue, I know Argentina won the game last night, but as a whole, as a totality, the best team at this Copa America was Colombia. It was Colombia, bro. They were amazing. Every single game that they played in this Copa America, they were basically flawless. Luis Diaz was amazing, Lerma was amazing, John Arias was amazing, Davison Sanchez was amazing, their goalkeeper was amazing, their whole team was so good. And also, not to mention, I forgot to mention him, how can I forget? James Rodriguez, bro. James Rodriguez, take a fucking bow. Player of the tournament at the World Cup. No one saw this coming. One of the greatest comebacks in the history of sports. James Rodriguez, who's been irrelevant at the domestic level in football for the past 4 years. No one even knows what club he's playing at currently. He's bounced around a bunch of different teams. And for him to come to this Copa America and do what he did, I think he had 6 assists. I mean, just amazing, bro. That's going to add so much to the legacy of James Rodriguez, who already has a great international legacy for what he did for Colombia in the 2014 World Cup. But this guy showing the first country, he's always showing up no matter what. And what he did at this tournament was just amazing to watch. Honestly, I'm so honored that I got to watch James Rodriguez at the 2024 Copa America because honestly, man, it's one of the greatest individual performances I've seen at a tournament in a very long time. It's up there with some of the best that I've seen. It was just amazing. He didn't carry that team because that team has so many great players, but honestly, he was the main reason why they got as far as they got. And for me yesterday, I was rooting for Argentina, but I was honestly kind of neutral in this game because I would have been really happy for Colombia if they would have won this game because they deserved it as much as any team in this competition. What they did against Uruguay, beating them, but despite having 10 men for the majority of that game, I mean, it was just amazing. The way that they fought in that game and the way that they fought last night, I mean, it was just great to watch. And I think the reason why Colombia lost this game last night is because I think, look, Argentina were fresher because they played the day before. And like I said, Colombia played a dogfight with Uruguay down to 10 men for most of that game. And it was a very intense game, not just mentally, but physically. So most of those players just seemed kind of drained on the pitch. And we saw in the first half, Colombia looked better, in my opinion, than Argentina. But like in the latter stages of the second half, and especially in extra time, it wasn't even a contest. It was, but Argentina were the much better team. But still, Colombia had some chances last night. And I think Colombia, bro, like I said, they should be very, very proud of themselves. But unfortunately, you came up against what, in my opinion, is the greatest national team in the world right now, and also a team that has the experience to win games like this. And it's very few teams that can beat Argentina when it comes to games like this. In the Copa America final, to beat them, it's going to be very, very difficult to do. And still, Colombia were close, man. Colombia, look, bro, this team has potential. They could do some noise at the World Cup or at the next Copa America because they've lost one game. This is their first loss in their past 28. And like I said, you're losing to Argentina. No shame in losing to them. But dude, one loss in the past 28, and the football that they play is honestly fucking beautiful. But last night, man, again, you came up against a better team. And again, I think Colombia created some good chances. But overall, Argentina was the better team. I think the better team won last night. And like I said, extra time Argentina were better. Colombia created some good chances. They had that chance. I forget who it was. I think maybe it was Luis Diaz at the end where Licha Martinez made that last-ditch tackle. But for the most part, it was mostly Argentina in that second half, like I've been saying, and also an extra time. But yeah, man, I want to give some shout-out to some players on the Argentina side, especially for last night, and also for the tournament as a whole, because to me, their best players were, number one, Dibu Martinez. Dibu Martinez was fucking amazing last night. His command of his box in this tournament as a whole was fucking amazing. But last night, I mean, he made so many big saves, and he's building one of the greatest international legacies that a goalkeeper's ever had. It's just a matter of fact. He's like, what he's done for Argentina since he became the starting goalkeeper, it's fucking amazing. He's never lost a penalty shootout with them. Like I said, his command of his box is amazing. His distribution is amazing, especially in this tournament. So many times Argentina got away on the front foot and transition because of Dibu Martinez and the balls that he was playing, especially in that first game against Canada. He played so many great long passes that just led to Argentina counterattacks. His shot stopping amazing, and he's the best keeper in the world at saving penalties. I mean, when you have that, man, and when you, like this guy, like I said, what does he not show for this team? He's building one of the greatest international resumes in the history of football when it comes to goalkeepers, in my opinion at least. Cuti Romero, who was amazing for Spurs and for Argentina was amazing in this tournament as well, was really, really good last night. But for the tournament as a whole, he was amazing. Licha Martinez, who obviously people didn't see much for the second half of the year because he was injured for United. But this guy, people like to call him overrated. That's how you know when someone doesn't know football, by the way. If people call Lisandro Martinez overrated, they have no idea what they're talking about. He's one of the best center backs in the world. And yesterday, he made that last-ditch tackle in extra time that saved Argentina from losing that game. And that's the same tackle that he made, by the way, against Australia, if you guys remember, back in 2022, in that World Cup round of 16 game, when he obviously saved Argentina then as well. He made a great tackle in that game to basically save an insane solo goal that would have been by the Australian player. But yeah, man, to me, that guy's been so underrated. Nahuel Molina, amazing. Tagliafico, when he comes on, he's amazing. Acuna, their fullbacks, bro, they're all so good. Their fullbacks are so good. They play so well. Rodrigo de Paul was fantastic in this tournament. I thought Alexis McAllister had a really good tournament as well. I thought Di Maria, obviously, that was his last game ever for the national team. And just what a player he is. I mean, yesterday with Messi going off injured, for him to be able to to rally the troops and obviously get that team to win, him being the captain on the field while Messi was gone, it was just amazing to watch. For Messi, obviously went off injured last night, like the 60th minute, came off crying, which I was super sad for Messi because his ankle looked like a fucking grapefruit, bro. That shit looked huge, and you could tell he wanted to continue, but he was just in so much pain. And to watch him last night and just watch him on this tournament as a whole kind of made me sad because I know this is not the same Messi that I know. You know what I mean? This is not the Messi that I remember watching at Barcelona or even at the Copa America in 2021 or for sure not the World Cup in 2022. And Messi's best moments over the past couple years have come in international tournaments. Obviously, the World Cup and the Copa America, two of his best in his career. And at this tournament, again, he was still doing Messi things like serving up people, like serving up like the ball on a play for players, like just like assisting them or playing great passes. But for the most part, you could tell he's not really the Messi that he used to be. And again, I don't think Messi was bad in this tournament at all, but he wasn't the Messi that we're used to seeing. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he was just very physically tired coming into this Copa America. And again, him going off in the 60th minute. Everybody talks about how this Argentina team is carried by Messi. And they proved last night, and they've proved actually for the last couple years, they can win without Messi. Like this Scaloni team, like their record without Messi is really good. It's better than any of the teams, any of the coaches before him. Messi's like Argentina's record when they had Sampaoli and they had Tata Martino. When those coaches didn't have Messi, the record was terrible. With Lionel Scaloni, he can win with Messi, he can win without Messi. And that's why he's one of the greatest managers in the world right now. But yeah, like I said, bro, for Messi to go off injured in that game was extremely sad to watch. But yeah, bro, for me, what really changed this game was extra time and the subs that Scaloni made. Scaloni changed this game. Think about this for a second. He made 3 changes. He brought on Giovanni Lo Celso. He brought on who else did he bring? He brought on Leandro Paredes and he brought on Lautaro Martinez. All 3 of those guys contributed to Argentina's winning goal. Paredes wins the ball back. He won the ball back in the midfield right there, like which obviously led to the pass to Lo Celso. And then he got the ball back and then he passed it back to Lo Celso. And then Lo Celso was the one who played the ball to Lautaro Martinez, who eventually ends up scoring the winning goal. So all 3 of his subs were the ones that contributed to that goal that won Argentina the Copa America. Think about how amazing that is, bro. A guy who, to me, like I said earlier, like just now, he's one of the greatest managers in the world. He makes a decision on the fly, and it pays off. 3 subs, and all 3 of them make an impact right away. And look, I know, like, for a guy like Lautaro Martinez to be one of the best strikers in the world, because he's been one of the best strikers in the world over the past couple years, coming off that season that he had, where he was amazing for Inter, and being a top goal scorer at this tournament, by the way, before coming into this game. It obviously must be hard mentally to sit the bench behind Julian Alvarez, who obviously is a great young player. Sorry, I had to burp. But also, like, he rides the bench for City because there's a better striker in front of him. And Lautaro Martinez is a starter. He's the talisman. He's the catalyst for his team in Inter. It must be hard, like, obviously, for your ego, for a guy of that caliber to sit the bench. But still, bro, the way that he's such a professional about it, the way that this team just kind of, there's no egos on this Argentina team. That's what I look at. Like, when I look at this Argentina team, there's no egos ever, bro. Everybody just seems to be so comfortable with the role, and that's why they're so good. And for Lautaro Martinez, like I said, to come off the bench and do what he did at the Copa America, which was be, in my opinion, one of the best players, was for sure Argentina's best player, you could argue, in my opinion, because he was a top goal scorer. And to score the winner, and to score the winner against Chile in the group stages, and to score so many important goals. I mean, what a performance this guy had. What a performance this guy had at this whole tournament. Like I said, Paredes, bro, winning that ball back, he was amazing. And every time he plays for Argentina, he makes something happen, bro. It's something about these players when they play for Argentina. They just, oh, by the way, Nico Gonzalez, I forgot to mention him. How could I forget Nico Gonzalez? Nico Gonzalez, who came in for Messi in the second half, was the best player on the pitch for, like, the whole second half. Was the best player on the pitch. Every single Argentina attack went through Nicolas Gonzalez on that left-hand side. He was amazing, bro. And again, another sub by scoring, another smart sub by scoring. Everybody's like, oh, why aren't you using Garnacho? He knows what he's doing, bro. This man knows what he's doing. And, you know, he's shown that, like I said, he's the best national team manager in the world, in my opinion. No one even comes close. But yeah, the micro last night, the better team won. Argentina was just the better team. They were putting on the pressure in that second half. They were the fresher team, and that's why they won the game. That's just me talking about the micro. Like I said last night, I talked about Giovanni Lo Celso, I talked about Nico Gonzalez, I talked about Paredes, De Paul, what a great tournament. But now let's talk about the macro, right? What this means for Messi, what this means for Di Maria, what this means for Scaloni, what this means for Argentina. Let's start off with Messi. It's weird, man, because for me, Messi, even before this tournament, even before Messi even won an international tournament, even before 2021, when he won the Copa America for the first time, he was, to me, already the greatest player of all time. And it's weird because for so many years as a Messi fan, I dreamt about watching him win an international trophy, and now I'm kind of spoiled by it, bro. Like, it was just like when Argentina won last night, I was kind of just like immune to it. Watching Messi, it seemed like Messi didn't really even care either. Obviously, he was happy and he couldn't really celebrate as much as he wanted to because of his ankle. But it just seemed like he was just like, okay, cool. Like when you see Messi's reaction after winning the Copa America in 2021, when he collapses to his knees and starts crying, it was very different last night. Again, he was on the pitch in that game, and this one he was on the bench. But still, for me as a Messi fan, again, I don't think this does anything for Messi because, again, he's to me the greatest player of all time, and his international legacy was already cemented. But with this win, he's one of the greatest. In my opinion, you could argue he's for sure already in the top. He was already before this, but he's already, for sure, no question about it, a top 3 player at the international level. And he's to me, he's number 1, but he's for sure a top 3 player. No one can argue against that. No one can argue against that. And what he did over these past 3 years, picking up these 3 international trophies, it's the greatest comeback in the history of football. From having no international trophies in 2021, in July of 2021, early July, you had no international trophies, and now we're here in July of 2024, and you've won a World Cup and 2 Copa Americas and a Finalissima on the way to doing so and being the best player at 3 of those. Like obviously in the Finalissima, he was the best player in that game. He was the best player of the World Cup at the Copa America in 2021. Not at this Copa America, but for the most part, you've been the best player and the best player on your team, and the reason why they won those tournaments, it's fucking amazing to watch. And like I said, that is the greatest comeback in the history of international football. For Angel Di Maria, he just closes another chapter in his career of being one of the greatest and most underrated players in the history of football. One of the greatest international legacies of all time Di Maria has. He didn't score in this final, but he scored at multiple finals already. He scored in the final in Qatar, scored in the final in the Maracanã. I mean, the guy's insane. And for me, there's no better way for him to leave international football than to leave after being a Copa America winner once again. And it's just fantastic. It's fantastic to see what Angel Di Maria did throughout his career at the international level, because he was with Messi when they won the gold medal in 08. And up until this point, you know, he went through all the failures with Messi, all the bad moments and all the great moments. And to watch him walk away like that, I don't know, like Di Maria is a guy who played for Madrid, but he's still one of my favorite players of all time because I love the way that he plays. And like I said, to me, one of the most underrated ballers in the history of football, and definitely of this generation. But yeah, Angel Di Maria goes out in the best way possible. United Scaloni, look, bro, he's one of the greatest managers in the history of international football. He's the greatest manager, in my opinion, in the history of Argentina after what he did, winning the Copa America, winning the World Cup, and winning the Copa America. This guy is a magician, bro. He's a magician. He's as good a manager as you will ever see in your life. He's as good at reading a game as you will ever see in your life. He's super proactive with his substitutions, not reactive. He always seems to be one step ahead of his competition and his opposition. And that's why he's the best, like I said, international manager in the world. And again, does he have a terrible squad? No. But does he have France's squad? No. Does he have England's squad? No. He has Messi and a lot of good players. But when you look at this Argentina team on paper, no one would say they're one of the best teams in the world. But he gets them to play like one of the best teams in the world because he believes in them and they believe in him. And that's really what matters at this level, bro. International football is a lot less about tactics and a lot more about what you can, like the mentality that you can institute into your players. And no one does it as good as Lionel Scaloni for Argentina. The guy is fucking amazing, bro. Argentina had not won a major trophy since 1993, and this guy took over in 2019, and they've won 4. And if you want to say 3, they've won 3 since then, and the 3 biggest ones. No one can ever question that man or what he's made of or his legacy because he did it without Messi today. He did it without Messi for most of that game. So no one can ever question Lionel Scaloni and how good he is as a manager. And I hope that one day we get to see him at the club level because I believe he's still good enough as a tactician to be an elite club manager as well. He's not just an international football merchant. He can be an elite club manager as well. Now let's talk about Argentina. I talked about them briefly in the intro, but let's talk about them now. Let's just close off the video talking about them and what this means for them as a nation and what this run means for that country and in the history of football. Look, bro, they're contending with Spain in the late 2000s and early 2010s when they won Euro World Cup and Euro. They're contending with France in the late 90s and early 2000s when they won World Cup and Euro, obviously 98 and 2000. They're contending with those guys. Whether you guys want to hear it or not, that's the fact of the matter. Like winning 3 major tournaments in a row barely ever happens, and the only other team to do it is Spain, like I said. And that Spanish team is regarded by many and me as the greatest national team of all time. Not just because of the way that they play, but also on paper, that's one of the greatest teams of all time. Go look at that team on paper. Whether it's an 08 or 2010 or 2012, those teams are stacked with all-time greats. Argentina's not really stacked with all-time greats. Like, how many all-time greats can you think of the top of your head for Argentina? Obviously, you can think of 2. Right off the top, like you can think of Messi, you can think of Angel Di Maria. 2 all-time cemented, no question about it. 2 of the greatest players. Messi's obviously the greatest, but 2 of the greatest players of all time and of this generation, in my opinion. Di Maria is like in the top 100 if you want to call him that. But anyway, you know, like Di Maria is an all-time great. And then who do you have after that? Is Otamendi an all-time great? You could say so, but I would lean towards maybe no. Guti Romero might be on his way, but we don't know yet. Dibu might be on his way, but we don't know yet. Enzo might be on his way, but we don't know yet. McAllister might be on his way, but we don't know yet. That's the thing with this team, bro. They're all young. Spain wasn't young. Those players were younger, but they weren't as young as this team. This team is full of young players, bro. And the fact that they continue to win, it's amazing to watch, bro. It's honestly amazing to watch. And like I said, whether people want to hear it or not, this is one of the greatest national team runs of all time. And you could argue it's up there as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, bro. Is it with Brazil in the 70s and the 60s? I don't know about that because obviously those teams won World Cups. But I can promise you it's a lot harder to do it nowadays than it was back in the 60s. I can promise you that. And again, bro, they just, like, before this tournament started, I picked them to win the whole thing. They were the betting favorites to win the whole thing because no one can look this team eye to eye in a final and say, we think we can beat you because they just have too much pedigree, man. And they have too much talent when it comes to players who have been there and done that. And yeah, bro, for me, it's just, this just cements Argentina as one of the greatest teams, international teams, and one of the greatest international runs that I've seen in my lifetime. And no one can ever take that away from those players and that manager because what they've done over these past 5 years, like I said, has been amazing. Losing 2 games in 5 years is already fucking absurd. But picking up 3 major trophies on their way to doing so, on their way to only losing 2 games, and one of them was to Saudi Arabia, and one of the craziest flukes we've ever seen in the history of international football. Obviously, that first game in the World Cup in Qatar, one of the greatest upsets, if not the greatest upset in the history of the World Cup. It's just, bro, like, no one can ever take that away from them. But yeah, I want to say shout out to Colombia. I also want to say, bro, that whole thing that happened yesterday at Hard Rock Stadium as a South Florida resident, it makes me incredibly upset, and it honestly left a bitter taste in my mouth. I had friends who pulled up to that game, who had tickets, who couldn't get in, and people who didn't have tickets got into the game. If any of you guys are watching this right now, if you made it this far into the video, and you're a Colombia fan or you're an Argentina fan, and you were in that stadium last night, and you find yourself getting hurt or something, then I'm truly, truly sorry. And if you couldn't get into the game, even though you paid for your ticket, then I'm truly, truly sorry, man. You guys don't deserve that. It's always a few people that make it so bad for everybody. And yeah, that just really culminated a really bad Copa America logistics-wise for Conmebol. That last night was just the icing on the cake of what was honestly a terribly organized tournament when it came to the fields that they were using, when it came to the grass, when it came to the refereeing, when it came to the fan management, when it came to the practice facility management. I heard that they didn't even give Bolivia a practice facility, like an actual good one to train on. It was just a mess overall. I hope in 2026 in the World Cup, the USSF and CONCACAF and Conmebol and FIFA all work together to make this better, because when it's just Conmebol, it's a fucking disaster, bro. And that last night was an embarrassment to watch, watching people get trampled and run over and getting hit and getting abused by the police, even though they had tickets to get in, and people who didn't have tickets are just walking in for free it's disgusting, man. It was disgusting. And again, if you find yourself in that position last night, if you were at that game, then I'm sorry. But yeah, that should never happen. That honestly left a bitter taste in my mouth, and it made me not want to watch the game because I was so upset after watching those scenes. It was just awful to watch. But yeah, man, enough yapping. This video is long enough already. But yeah, I love every single one of you guys, man. Thank you so much for watching. What a great day yesterday was. Now we wait for the Barca news when it comes to Nico Williams, and then it'll be the best week of my life. But yeah, man, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.